Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Sophia and I make bookish videos, mainly videos about literary fiction and mystery thriller books, but a little bit of everything. And today I am back with another book haul. This book haul is sponsored by me losing my library card, or not losing, but it expiring and me having to go back to the library in order to renew it. And not having done that for several months, and therefore having a constant stream of book mail on my porch, for better or for worse. Also sponsored by my fear of writing in a library book now that I have a newfound love for annotating books. So we're just having a lot of emotions today. But all joking aside, I am very excited about this stack of books making its way onto my shelves, and equally as excited to share all those books with you. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, we have The Plot. This is by Jean Hanff Korelitz. Also, I apologize if I look down during this because I have notes on my phone, which is on my lap. So trying to make eye contact, but if you notice that, that's why. So this came out in 2021. It is published by Celadon Books, which is an imprint of Macmillan Publishing, and it comes in at 320 pages. So this is the first book in a series. The second one is actually called The Sequel. And it's a mystery series about a writer and writing instructor who maybe isn't coming up with his best material and isn't really succeeding in his career. But one of his students comes up with a genius plot for a new book. And when that student turns up dead, the main character, the writing instructor, decides to steal the plot and make it his own. And the story kind of goes from there. I think this has a lot to do with the price of ideas, if not the price of original work. And very much told in a plotty mystery way. So I'm very much anticipating this one. Next up, we have Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, and this was translated by Megan McDowell from the Spanish. This came out in 2022, and it's from Hogarth Publishing, which is a imprint of Penguin Random House, and it comes in at 588 pages. So definitely a chunker of a book. This author has two other short stories, which are very well loved, but this was her first full-length novel, and it really is a epic horror novel. Every time I read the synopsis of it, it goes straight over my head, I'm going to be honest with you. But what really drew me to pick this up is the universally positive reviews of this one and the rip-roaring Goodreads rating. So I just had to know what all the hype is about. But certainly a horror novel and not something that I typically read. Next up, we have Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This is a pretty famous book at this point that came out several years ago. I'm a little bit late on the hype for this one. It was actually published way back in 2013 and it already has a sequel. It's from Reagan Arthur Books. It comes in at 544 pages, so another chunker of a book. And the premise of this one is kind of like a Groundhog Day situation. Basically, the main character is born in 1910, but she is able to live and die multiple times. And through these iterations of her life, really begs the question is, could she have changed anything, or could she have done anything in her life to prevent the calamitous two world wars in the first half of the 20th century? This book, I believe, won the Women's Prize as well as many other prizes. And not only that, Kate Atkinson is also the author of a mystery series, and we all know that I love me a good mystery series. So very much want to read this book in its own right, but might move on to, I believe it's Brody is his last name, mystery series if I enjoy her writing. Next up, we have The Orange Room. This was kindly gifted to me by my lovely aunt, who is the same aunt that got me the British edition of Intermezzo. It's by Rosie Price. It came out in 2024, so recent release. And it's from Vintage Publishing, which is an imprint also of Penguin Random House. And it is actually on the shorter end, 256 pages. The hook that made me excited about this, it was a gift, so I was going to talk about it anyways. But the thing that made me extra excited was that it was described as Rooney-esque. Sally Rooney-esque, the greatest compliment maybe that you could give a book. If you are curious about some of my Sally Rooney thoughts, I will send you over to my recent video where I talked about reading all of her published works. But back to this one. This is about an art student that decides to kind of give up a tumultuous lifestyle and move back, I think, to her hometown and take up a more 9-to-5 expected run-of-the-mill straightforward job. And when she does, she meets a man and starts to have a relationship with him. Unfortunately, this is a very abusive relationship. This book is about her finding herself, a self-discovery story, but also very much deals with the tough topic of abuse, but have heard really excellent things about this as well. Next up, we have My Own Words by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This came out back in 2016. It was published by Simon & Schuster, and it comes in right at 400 pages. I bought this when I was at a bookstore traveling to St. Louis. I will try and find the vlog where I talk about that and link it here if you're curious about that whole trip. But this is basically all of RBG's essays, a lot of her speeches, and I'm going to be honest, I thought this was a bit more of a memoir / autobiography rather than just, her speeches. But I consider RBG as one of my idols, and I would love to dive more into her words, whatever form they might be. So very anticipating picking this one up as well. And next we have All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. I apologize if I'm blinding you. This is a very shiny cover and a very floppy, large book. The reason being, it is an accidental large print purchase. I don't like reading in large print because I'm flipping the pages more than I want to be, but here we are. I didn't want to return it, so we're going to go with it. Maybe I'll just enjoy this ridiculous floppy paperback. This one comes in at 608 pages, although this large print edition is much more than that, looking like over 800 pages. And this book came out in summer 2024. It came out from The Crown, which is a subsidiary of also Penguin Random House. And let me tell you a little bit about it. So it says, 1975 is a time of change in America. The Vietnam War is ending. Muhammad Ali is fighting Joe Frazier. And in the small town of Montclair, Missouri, girls are disappearing. When the daughter of a wealthy family is targeted, the most unlikely hero emerges. Patch, a local boy who saves the girl, and in doing so leaves heartache in his wake. Patch and those who love him soon discover that the line between triumph and tragedy has never been finer, and that their search for answers will lead them to truths that can mean losing one another. A missing person mystery, a serial killer thriller, a love story, a unique twist on each. All the Colors of the Dark is about what lurks in the shadows of obsession and the blinding light of hope. Also, I've heard nothing but great things about this, and you know me, I always want another mystery thriller. Next, we have Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. This came out in 2009. So I think the earliest released one of everything in this haul, and this is from Alfred Knopf Publishing. I actually took this from my mother's bookcase. Actually, she gave it to me, but I've probably borrowed it for longer than I'm supposed to have it. But this is Abraham Verghese's first novel. I read Covenant of Water last year, and it turned out to be one of my favorite books of the year. He is known for writing epic family stories. Covenant of Water was set in India, in the Kerala region, and this one is set in Africa and America. So very looking forward to this as well, since I adored his second book so much. And last but not least, I have a stack of books. They are all by the same author, and they are for an upcoming project. So I have very much enjoyed reading books by the same author at the same time recently, and I really wanted to do that with Claire Keegan. So I have hauled all of her published works. I think since there's 6 of them, I'm probably going to do it in 2 separate videos, but I thought I would share them all with you guys here while I have them all. And I don't actually know the publication order, so I'm just going to go in the order of my stack. We have Antarctica. Next up is Walk the Blue Fields. We have Foster. Probably her most famous, I think, is Small Things Like These. The most adorable in the stack is The Forester's Daughter. Look at this tiny, adorable book. I just love it. And it has a very cute picture of a girl and a dog on the front. And last but not least is So Late in the Day, Stories of Women and Men. So those are all of the books that have made their way onto my shelf recently. I would love to know if you've read any of these, what you thought of them, what you'd like me to pick up sooner rather than later. And with that, I will see you guys all very soon with another video. Bye.